Chapter 920. Mayan expressed that she would magnanimously not haggle over Qi Xiaohuang's comparison of her to a dog crawling. Tell me, how should I use my domain to fight? Windless Square. A huge illusory projection appears above the training field. The projection shows the battles in the training field, as well as the current changes in the points. As first-grade spiritual roots, Jun Mayan and first-grade spiritual root, Qinizhou, have undoubtedly received the most attention. Especially Jun Mayan. Many people wanted to see what kind of monstrous person the legendary superior grade 1 spiritual root was. As if knowing everyone's thoughts, the image in the virtual projection switches to Mayan's position. In the quiet and secluded valley, a beautiful girl is sleeping with her eyes closed. Her long eyelashes cast a silhouette on her fair and delicate skin, and a cool breeze slowly blows her hair. That scene is as beautiful as a painting, intoxicating and reluctant to disturb. But no matter how intoxicated they are, they can't conceal everyone's shock. This isn't right. Isn't the assessment going on right now? Everyone else is busy killing the one-horned rhinoceroses. Why is Jun Mayan sleeping? Look, there are 3 one-horned rhinoceroses coming. Someone shouts. A rumbling echo immediately resounds in the valley. The one-horned rhinoceroses are still very large, and they naturally make loud noises when they move. Even a person who is sleeping like a dead pig would be woken up. Sure enough, the sleeping girl slightly opens her eyes, her line of sight falling on the 3 one-horned rhinoceroses. Look, Jun Mayan is going up against those 3 one-horned rhinoceroses. She's going to make her move soon. After all, that's 3 points. I really want to see what an evildoer with a first-class spiritual root looks like in battle. After all, it's 3 one-horned rhinoceroses, even Jun Mayan should be careful to kill them. In the valley, the one-horned rhinoceroses are getting closer and closer to Mayan. In Windless Square, everyone's hearts are in their throats. It's about to start, the battle is about to start. Then, what's going on? Why isn't Jun Mayan fighting yet? Jun Mayan is petite and hidden in the stone. It's normal for the one-horned rhinoceroses not to see her, but it's impossible for Jun Mayan not to notice those 3 one-horned rhinoceroses. The one-horned rhinoceroses are over. Jun Mayan actually didn't kill them. The people in the entire Windless Square were in a mess. What the hell was going on? Jun Mayan actually stares blankly and doesn't take the 3 points, directly letting them go. What first-class spirit roots? Don't tell me that it doesn't actually have any battle strength. What was the use of just having an outstanding spirit root? If you can't dig out a mountain of treasures, you're just a piece of trash. A disciple of the Bright Moon sect who had been eliminated in the first round sneered. These words immediately caused a huge uproar in the square. Many people agreed with this person's words. It seems that this woman, Jun Mayan, only has talent, but doesn't have the slightest bit of fighting power. Otherwise, there was no way to explain why she didn't dare to take the 3 points when they were right in front of her. What genius, it turns out to be nothing more than a flashy but useless straw bag. He can't even deal with a 5th-level body refinement one-horned rhinoceros. Wouldn't this kind of trash be a disgrace to a large sect? Chapter 921. In fact, it's not like the Xiuzhen continent didn't have such an embroidered pillow for so many years. They have the highest talent and spiritual root, but their fighting awareness and courage are almost equal to 0. Such a person, even if they really use elixirs and resources to push their cultivation up, in the end, they'll just be a disgraceful waste. Such a person is definitely not a disciple that the big sects want to recruit. Otherwise, the sect only needs to hold the first round of selection, and it'll be fine if the selection is completely based on spiritual root talent. Why do they need to hold the second round? Spiritual root talent is the foundation, but it's not everything. Actual combat strength is the most important existence. In the square, almost everyone is completely disappointed with Mayan, even the virtual projection has been switched to someone else. Only the old man of the Xiaoyao sect chuckles, a bunch of idiots. The cute boy next to him immediately says, Master, I've seen that sister use water spiritual power. She's very powerful, she's definitely not as useless as they say. The old man yawns, that's why I said they're all idiots. I'm bored, I'm going to sleep first, wake me up if there's something interesting. The cute boy helplessly looks at his master, who just pulls down his hat and directly falls asleep in the middle of the crowd, snoring loudly. Ah! Look, young Master Qin killed 10 one-horned rhinoceroses in one breath, too powerful. Young Master Qin's points are so much higher than Yin Tianzi's. This is a real expert. Excited shouts rang out from the square. The virtual projection has been switching between Qin Yizhou and Yin Tianzi, because their battle is also the most intense and attractive. But the ranking list can roughly see everyone's performance. And at the end of the ranking list, behind the 3 words Jun Mayan, there's still a big 0. A whole day has passed, but there's no change. What the hell is this Jun Mayan doing? She doesn't even dare to kill a one-horned rhinoceros. Letting this kind of person enter the second round is simply a humiliation to those who were eliminated in the first round. Look at those people from the Bright Moon sect from Minlujia, they're all ranked within the top 50. Oh, look, that Lu Ruoxuan's ranking has risen to the 15th. I saw that the people of the Bright Moon sect said that Jun Mayan was seducing men in the Heavenly Fragrance building. Maybe it's true. With this kind of strength, no matter how talented he is still not suitable to be a human furnace. In the training field. In the forest, the people of the Bright Moon sect were fighting fiercely against 3 single-horned rhinoceroses. An hour later, the 3 one-horned rhinoceroses were exhausted and could no longer hold on. However, Pang Yunfei, who was fighting with the one-horned rhinoceros, did not kill it. Instead, he called out to Lu Ruoxuan, who was standing behind him, Jin, come quickly. Come over and kill these 3 one-horned rhinoceros. Chen Xiuxiu immediately objected, Senior brother, that's enough. All the one-horned rhinoceroses that we killed along the way were killed by Lu Ruoxuan. She's already in the 15th place. Isn't that enough? Don't we need points? Chen Xiuxiu was about to explode. This was because there were 6 people from the Bright Moon sect who had entered the second round, and they quickly gathered together. Thus, all the single-horned rhinoceroses they encountered along the way were easily killed. Chapter 922. But Pang Yunfei requested for everyone to leave a message for the dying rhinoceros and let Lu Ruoxuan deal the final blow. As a result, Lu Ruoxuan's ranking naturally rose. But, why? Lu Ruoxuan was clearly the most useless. She couldn't even deal with a single rhinoceros. Why did she get so many points? Could she enter a big sect? Pang Yunfei glanced at her coldly, we are all disciples of the same sect. Jin has the highest chance of entering the inner sect of a big sect. At this time, what we should do is to help each other. Xiuxiu, don't be too selfish. I'm selfish. Chen Xiuxiu screamed, her eyes red, those should be my points, my chance to enter a big sect. Why should I give them to a useless Lu Ruoxuan? Lu Ruoxuan rushed forward and grabbed the furious Pang Yunfei, crying, Senior brother, don't say any more. It's my fault, I'm too useless. Just give these 3 rhinoceros to senior sister, don't be angry. Chen Xiuxiu trembled with anger. She was the one who killed the rhinoceros, why should she give it to her? Pang Yunfei looked at Lu Ruoxuan with a face full of tenderness, Jin, why are you so kind? Lu Ruoxuan showed a timid smile, I just drew a few talismans. Senior brother Luo, senior brother Zhang, I saw that you were injured just now. Quickly heal them. Senior brother, you should replenish your spiritual energy too. Lu Ruoxuan said and handed over the talismans in her hand. Pang Yunfei and the others took it and used their spiritual energy to burn the talismans. Their injuries immediately healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Jin, you still say you're useless. Pang Yunfei's face was full of love. In the Min Lu and Blue Sky world, how many people can draw talismans? Not to mention these healing talismans. But you did it. And the battle just now only lasted for 2 hours. You already drew 3 talismans. With such talent, even in the Blue Sky world, you are not inferior. Senior brother Luo and senior brother Zhang, who received the talismans, praised. Junior sister's ability to draw talismans to heal injuries is not something that everyone can do. It's a great help to us, how can it be useless? Lu Ruoxuan showed a happy smile. Really? That would be great. I just hope that I can help my senior brothers. Pang Yunfei sneered and looked at Qin Xiu. There are some people who don't have much fighting power, but they have a bad temper. Alright, stop pretending. These 3 one-horned rhinoceroses are all yours. Are you satisfied now? As he spoke, he held Lu Ruoxuan in his arms and left. The others followed behind him. No one looked at Qin Xiu again. Qin Xiu stared in the direction they left, her eyes slowly glowing with a blood-red light. His mouth opened slightly, and a beast-like roar came out from his mouth. It also sounded like a shriek. If someone were to turn around and look at Qin Xiu at this moment, they would discover that her face was twisted and hideous, like a crazed demon or malicious spirit. Tian Mo Qin space. The strings of the zither in Mayan's hands slowly vibrate, and the stirring music slowly dissipates. A formless and terrifying power was slowly absorbed into her body. Feeling that she could freely expand and shrink her domain, Mu Yen showed a satisfied expression. Chapter 923. Truly worthy of being little brother's mother. Qi Huang waves his hand like he's shooing away a fly. Alright, since you've already grasped it, quickly go out and kill everyone. This sage doesn't want to stay in this broken place forever. Mayan uses her mental tentacles to stroke the little phoenix's head, not the least bit dissatisfied with Qi Huang's attitude. This time, it's all thanks to Qi Huang that she can truly grasp domain. Although it's only the most basic level of domain, its profoundness and power have already made Mayan's heart palpitate. Before she grasped domain, she still felt that she had no chance of winning against Qini Zhou. But now, she can't wait to meet this number 1 genius of Blue Heaven Realm. Mayan leaves the space and takes out her jade card. It's already the 2nd day of the assessment, but she's actually studying domain in the space for an entire day and night. At this time, on the ranking list displayed on the jade card, Qini Zhou, who's in first place, has already accumulated more than 200 points. And the only person with 0 points is herself. Even that little girl, Wei Zi, had scored 16 points. Of course, there are also a few names on the ranking list that have turned gray. That means that this person's jade card has been snatched away, and they've been directly eliminated. However, even those who have been eliminated still have half of their points, so their rankings are higher than hers. Mayan doesn't care at all, instead, she shows a malicious smile. She moves her divine sense, and the jade card that originally displayed the ranking list changes into a map of the trial field. There are red dots on the map, representing the positions of all the contestants. Starting from the halfway point of the competition, the number of single-horned rhinoceroses in the trial field will gradually decrease. Conversely, if you want points, you can only obtain them from others. The real hunt has just begun. Look, what kind of surprise have I encountered? A vulgar male voice rings out. Mayan turns her head and sees a shifty-eyed man flying towards her with large strides. June Mayan. The man cackles, his lecherous eyes constantly flitting over her face and body. Although you're currently at the bottom in terms of points and can't let Lousy move up a rank, Lousy has seen your face, and has long wanted to play with a stunner like you. Mu Yan didn't have the slightest bit of panic on her face. She casually found a rock and sat down. Her posture was indescribably wanton and lazy. I remember that wantonly killing and torturing are not allowed in the training field. You can only snatch jade tokens, right? Ha ha ha, you can't kill or torture, but if you do it willingly, then no one can stop you. The man licked his lips and looked like he was about to pounce on her. If you're willing to sleep with me, I'll give you 30 points. What do you think? If I remember correctly, you only have 0 points right now, right? How about it? This deal should be very profitable for you. The man's gaze unblinkingly falls on Mayan's face, and he unconsciously swallows his saliva. He felt that it was definitely worth it to spend 30 points to play with such a stunner. Mu Yan brushes aside her hair that has been messed up by the wind and chuckles, so, you have a lot of points. Ha! I'm the 9th ranked Hukuin. What do you think? Little beauty, you won't lose out if you follow me. This time, it's Mu Yan's turn to chuckle. Chapter 924. Hukuin was captivated by her smile as he muttered, "Beauty, what are you smiling at?" "I'm smiling at my good luck." Mayan said slowly, "There's no need to deliberately look for it, for the points to come to me." Hukuin was stunned and did not have the time to react to her words. Following that, he suddenly widened his eyes as he saw a dazzling sword beam blossom in front of him. And this was the last scene he saw in the trial grounds. Windless Square. The virtual projection was showing the Bright Moon sect's battle and the scene of them giving the points to Lu Ruoxuan. The square was immediately divided into 2 factions as both sides quarreled noisily. Some people thought that Lu Ruoxuan was shameless. Even if she entered the top 10, she would not live up to her name. Others thought that Lu Ruoxuan had talent in drawing talismans and was such a pure and kind girl. She deserved to be in the top 10. What's more, the points were given to her willingly by her fellow disciples. It was not because she cheated them. The elders of the various sects saw Lu Ruoxuan's performance in drawing talismans and had a different opinion. Qian Feng said to the disciple beside him, "Let me see Lu Ruoxuan's registration information." The disciple immediately agreed and took out a jade scroll. When Qian Feng saw that Lu Ruoxuan's most desired sect was the Leaf Fire sect, he immediately revealed a proud and satisfied smile. He had to bring this girl back to the Leaf Fire sect. Although her cultivation level was not high and her combat power was weak, how many people in the Azure Heaven realm could draw talismans and healing talismans? If he brought her back and nurtured her well, she might be able to bring great glory to the Leaf Fire sect in the future. Instead, it was June Mayan. Qian Feng had already seen that the sect she wanted was also registered as the Leaf Fire sect. Qian Feng was overjoyed when he learned that she had a superior grade 1 spirit root. But now, it seemed that she was just an embroidered pillow. His Leaf Fire sect did not want such trash. "Uncle." Qian Hongxiao suddenly said, "My cultivation level has been stuck at the 5th rank of Anidia. I have taken quite a number of pills but to no avail. I was thinking that although this June Mayan's strength is too weak, she still has a superior grade 1 spirit root. Why don't I recruit her and let her be my cauldron? If I can absorb a superior grade 1 spirit root's essence, I believe I can quickly break through the bottleneck." Hearing this, Qian Feng's eyes lit up. Indeed, Qian Hongxiao's cultivation had been stuck at the 5th level of abstinence for a long time. However, because of his relationship with Qian Feng, he still occupied the best resources in the sect, causing the other elders to have objections. If June Mayan really becomes Qian Hongxiao's cultivation furnace, she might really be able to help her nephew break through. Alright, since you, Hongxiao, have requested it, uncle will recruit her into the Leaf Fire sect. At that time, she will be yours. Qian Hongxiao was overjoyed. Thank you, uncle. You're too good to Hongxiao. June Mayan, from now on, you're my slave furnace. Let's see how arrogant you can be. Ha ha ha, aw. Look, the leaderboard. The leaderboard has changed. Just as Qian Hongxiao was feeling pleased with himself, a scream suddenly burst out from the crowd. June Mayan's points, why did it suddenly jump to 23? With a whoosh, everyone's attention was focused on the scoreboard. Chapter 9:25. Hu Kuan, who was originally in 9th place, has fallen, and has already been eliminated. What the hell is going on? Qian Feng and Qian Hongxiao look at each other in dismay, both revealing a shocked expression. The adorable youth of the carefree sect immediately nudges the sleeping old man awake, and says excitedly, Master, look, the wonderful thing is about to begin. The crowd in the windless square is stirred up, one after another discussing what happened. Why did June Mayan's point suddenly rise? Could it be that this June Mayan seduced Hu Kuan, and then took advantage of him being unprepared to snatch his jade card? Yes, it's very possible. How could a waste who can't even deal with 3 one-horned rhinoceroses jump so high all of a sudden? Quickly switch the screen to June Mayan. Wait a minute. An even more shrill cry pierces the sky, look. June Mayan's ranking rose again. Already 18. 16. Heavens, it's still rising, this June Mayan, what did she do? Within the training field. Mayan takes away the other's jade card, watching the other's figure slowly disappearing. She then casually tosses the jade card into the space. Her line of sight shifts, looking at the several people watching the fight not far away. As soon as those people meet her gaze, they immediately stiffen, their faces filled with horror. Mayan takes a few steps forward, asking as she walks, have you seen a round-faced little? She hasn't yet said the last word, girl. Those people scream and scatter in all directions. June Mayan is going to kill someone. The evildoer June Mayan is coming to snatch the jade card, everyone run. Mayan stares dumbfoundedly at the empty plane in a split second, unable to come back to her senses for a long time. No. Was she that scary? Didn't she just snatch a few jade cards? And it was clearly these people who provoked her first. What's more, the second round of the trial was originally to encourage everyone to snatch other people's jade cards, so that they could show their strength. How could she be an evildoer, a murderous demon if others could snatch it? What's more, if she wanted to kill people and snatch their jade cards, she would have to snatch them from experts. What was the use of robbing these small fries? The points given by a jade token were not even enough to fill the gaps between her teeth. Oh, but where did that little girl Weizi go? With a leap, Mu Yan's figure is like a meteor as she catches up to the last man running. She grabs him by the collar. Don't kill me. Mu Yan frowns as she listens to this pig-like howl. What are you shouting for? Who wants to kill you? The man looked at her sobbing. Then don't snatch my jade tablet. Mu Yan casually tosses him aside, unhurriedly saying, if you obediently answer my questions, I can consider not snatching your jade card. What problem? Have you ever seen a little girl with a round face, combed? Mu Yan described Wei Zi's appearance. The crying man blinked his eyes, wiped away his snot and tears, and asked carefully, Boss, this little girl, I really think I've seen her before. If I tell you, can you let me go? Mu Yan grabs his collar and casually shakes it. You can give it a try. Didn't you say that I can let you go? Chapter 926. Mu Yan rolled her eyes. Who's your boss? Why do you make me look like a homicidal maniac? However, when the man finished speaking, Mu Yan's expression suddenly became cold, and the murderous aura emitted from her body made the timid man burst into tears. In the dense jungle of the trial field. Wei Zi, what are you doing? Hurry up and lure those one-horned rhinoceroses over. Wei Zi was pushed hard, and her step staggered. With tears in her eyes, she glared angrily. Senior sister, don't go too far. You clearly said that as long as I help you collect 30 points, you'll let me leave to find Mississippi. Standing in front of her was Wei Zi's senior sister from the Cruel Sun sect, Yun Xiang. This time, besides Wei Zi and Yun Xiang, there were two other people from the Cruel Sun sect who entered the final audition. If Mu Yan and the Bright Moon sect hadn't stolen all the limelight, many people would have found that the Cruel Sun sect's performance was not bad. But because the people from the Cruel Sun sect went to test their spiritual roots after Mu Yan passed the first round of assessment. Mu Yan hated being watched, so she left the center of the square early. Therefore, they didn't know that Yun Xiang and her two senior brothers also passed the first round of selection with third-grade spiritual roots. After entering the trial field, Wei Zi wanted to find Mu Yan as soon as possible. Who knew that Yun Xiang and the other two would find her? Yun Xiang loudly reprimanded her for not helping in the Heavenly Fragrance restaurant that day, and said that she was ungrateful, forgetting the kindness of her sect and her father. Wei Zi was not good with words, and Yun Xiang twisted the truth like that. She really couldn't defend herself. But the two senior brothers completely stood on Yun Xiang's side. Censor Wei Zi was forcibly detained by them, and used as bait to lure the one-horned rhinoceroses. Even when someone wanted to rob their jade card, they directly pushed Wei Zi out to be a shield. If it wasn't for Wei Zi's good luck, and the self-protection skill she learned from Mu Yan, she would have been eliminated long ago. She had been clenching her teeth and persevering. Even when Yun Xiang and the others were trampling on her, she had endured it patiently. It was all because Yun Xiang had said that if she helped her earn 30 points, she would let her go. She would treat it as her repaying the kindness of her master. But now, the 30 points had already been obtained, and Yun Xiang still wanted her to be bait. Hearing Wei Zi's complaint, Yun Xiang immediately sneered and said, "Go find your young miss? Don't you know that your young miss's points have always been at the bottom? I guess she must be hiding in some corner and shivering. That kind of trash, you still want to find her." Checking the points and the arrangement of the red dots on the jade plate required divine sense. Therefore, most of the participants wouldn't take out their jade cards to check the rankings at all times. So much so that Yun Xiang doesn't even know that Mayan's points have already changed. Impossible. Wei Zi's face flushed red as she retorted loudly, "Miss is so smart, it's impossible for her to have 0 points. Something must have happened to Mississippi. No, I have to go look for her." Yun Xiang and the rest did not check the points on the jade token, and Wei Zi did not even check it. Because she did not dare to take out the jade pendant. As long as he took out the jade token, Yun Xiang and the others would probably snatch it away. Chapter 927. Wei Zi's complexion turns deathly pale. How can this be? Without the jade card, I'll be directly eliminated. How can I find the miss? Don't go too far. Humph, today, you have to hand it over, even if you don't want to. Yun Xiang's expression is sinister as she suddenly leans forward and grabs Wei Zi's clothes, tearing it apart. A dignified disciple of the Kanyang sect is actually a servant to a shameless whore. Since you're so cheap and shameless, I'll help you. Two senior brothers, take off all her clothes for me. I don't believe that I can't find her jade card. Don't. Let me go, woo, let me go. Wei Zi's clothes are torn apart piece by piece, even revealing her fair skin. One of the senior brothers shows a sinister expression, pinching her waist a couple of times. If it weren't for the rules of the assessment, where they can't bully or kill as they please, he would really like to have a taste of this little sister. Wei Zi is so ashamed that she wants to die. Her face is full of tears, but she doesn't have the strength to struggle. Found it, ah. It's this little slut's jade card. Yunxiang suddenly pulls out a jade card from Wei Zi's waist. As long as they erase Wei Zi's divine sense from the jade card, staining it with their own, Wei Zi will be eliminated, and half of her points will be directly transferred to Yunxiang. Yunxiang laughs heartily, about to cover it with her divine sense. Suddenly, there's a sharp pain in her brain. The melodious sound of the zither lingers in the air. In the ears of bystanders, it's euphemistic and touching, sentimental. But in the ears of Yunxiang and her two senior brothers, it's like thousands of needles stabbing into their brains. They can only fall to the ground, rolling and wailing incessantly. Wei Zi blankly raises her head, looking towards the direction of the zither sound. In the hazy fog, the sound of fluttering snow-white clothes, a zither in hand, slowly walking over while playing. As soon as Wei Zi sees this figure, tears well up in her eyes. Miss. Wei Zi rushes over, rushing into Mayan's embrace, tears pouring down like rain. Sob, miss, I finally see you again. Sob, they are bad, they are too bad, I will never forgive them. Sob. Mu Yan helplessly watched as the little girl cried until her clothes were a complete mess and wrinkled, but she didn't push her away. He gently patted her head and said softly, "All right, don't cry. Miss knows that they are bad. Miss will take revenge for you now, okay?" Wei Zi nods with tears in her eyes. When she gets up, she sees the marks on Mayan's body and her own half-naked body. She immediately blushes, wishing that she could find a hole to burrow into. Mu Yan finds a piece of clothing from the space and drapes it over her. Only then does she look at Yunxiang and her two senior brothers who are still lying on the ground, unable to get up. Although the sound of the zither had stopped, Yunxiang's mind was still in pain. Her body was shaking like a sieve, and there was vomit at the corner of her mouth. When he looks at Mayan, his eyes are full of fear and anger. June, Mayan, what do you want to do? This is the training field, you can't do anything to us. Mu Yan looks down at her from above, the corner of her mouth raises into a mocking arc. Is that so? Since I can't do anything to you, what are you worried about? As she speaks, her fingers have already rearranged themselves on the zither. Chapter 9:28. Aw. Mournful screams come from the mouths of the trio. The trio screams as they roll around, constantly banging their heads against the rocks. I can't take it anymore. I'm willing to give you the jade card. I beg you to spare me. Aw. Help, aw. The man who accompanied Mu Yan to find Wei Zi sees this scene and almost pees in his pants. The melodious sound of the zither is like a demonic sound from the depths of hell. And the beautiful girl playing the zither is more like a devil waving the scythe of the Grim Reaper. Woo. Jun Mu Yan is really too scary. When the zither finally stops, Yunxiang and the other two are already covered in blood, their eyes staring blankly, their faces revealing silly smiles from time to time. That look, they've clearly become stupid. Wei Zi carefully hides behind Mu Yan. Looking at the miserable appearance of Yunxiang and the other two, she doesn't have the slightest sympathy in her heart, only carefree. But she still asks worriedly, "Miss, they they won't die, right? Will you be punished for injuring them? Mu Yan lightly reaches out her hand and 3 jade cards fly out from the trio, falling into her hand. Don't worry, they won't die. It's just that in the future, they'll be no different from being dead, just 3 stupid wastes. As for whether I will be punished or not, you can see that I'm still standing here in good condition. The rules of the trial field state that one cannot deliberately abuse other contestants, and cannot kill them. But this rule only applies to physical injuries. And how could the people of the major sects think that a few insignificant practitioners of fasting and body forging could actually launch an attack on the primordial spirit? Therefore, the rules of the trial field can't do anything to Mu Yan. And Yun Xiang and the other 2 reap the consequences of their own actions, becoming idiots. Mu Yan looks at the 3 jade cards, then throws them away. One falls into the hands of the man leading the way, and the other 2 are given to Wei Zi. Miss? Imprint your divine sense on them. But, Mu Yan waves her hand, and Wei Zi immediately stops talking, obediently imprinting her divine sense on them. The man is pleasantly surprised. Even I have a share. Mu Yan looks at him with a smile that isn't a smile. What? You don't want it? No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, boss. The man was pleasantly surprised as he imprinted his divine sense on the jade plate. Looking at his points rising, he smiled so widely that only his teeth could be seen. Boss, you, who else are you going to kill next? This little one will lead the way for you. The corners of Mu Yan's mouth twitched. What do you mean she still wants to kill someone? Did he really think that she was a murderous demon? On the windless plaza, there was silence. Everyone watched the scenes on the virtual projection with their mouths agape, unable to utter a single word for a long time. At this time, Mu Yan's ranking had already soared to the 9th place. None of her points came from killing single-horned rhinoceroses. So, she didn't kill those 3 single-horned rhinoceroses in the beginning because she thought that killing monsters was too tiring and too few points. How confident must she be in her own strength? Strong. Too strong. This is the true superior grade 1 spiritual root, this is the true monstrous genius. Say, if Jun Mayan and young Master Qin were to fight, who do you think would win? Oh. Chapter 929. I bet Jun Mayan that even young Master Qin would not have the courage to not kill a single-horned rhinoceros. The audience in the square were divided into 2 factions. They were arguing over who was stronger between Qin Yizhou and Jun Mayan. Qian Feng stared intently at the scene in the virtual projection and slowly exhaled. Hongxiao, it's best you dispel that thought from before. Qian Hongxiao suddenly stared with widened eyes. Uncle, you are saying, I'm saying, immediately remove the thought of making Jun Mayan your cultivation cauldron from your mind. Qian Feng stroked his beard and slowly said, this is a true genius, a genius that can make my Li Fire sect prosper. I, Qian Feng, will definitely take her under my wing. But uncle, if I absorb her talent, I can also, don't say any more. I will definitely not agree to this. You are not allowed to think about it. Qian Feng did not hesitate to interrupt Qian Hongxiao's words. He then stared at the screen and ignored her. Qian Hongxiao's face alternated between green and white as he clenched his fists tightly. Could it be that he had to give up this woman? Could it be that all the humiliation he had suffered the day before was for nothing? No, he, Qian Hongxiao, had never been unable to obtain anything he wanted. This cultivation cauldron, Jun Mayan, was his. Time passed bit by bit, and in a blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. There was only 1 day left for the second round of assessment. And there were only 39 people left in the trial grounds. Boss, your points are already at 4th place. He, thanks to old Earth, little Z and I have already entered the top 20. The man that Mu Yan had grabbed was called Yi Huan. Ever since he helped Mu Yan find Wei Zi, he had been following behind Mu Yan. In these few hours, he had really freeloaded quite a bit of points. Now, he had climbed from the original 30-something to the 19th place. And Wei Zi's ranking was slightly higher than Yi Huan's, at the 18th place. Boss, you might not know, but the people who are still alive in the trial grounds are spreading rumors that you are a demoness in chaos. They would rather be slashed by young Master Qin than to meet you, or else they will suffer a fate worse than death. Once this trial ends, boss, your name will spread throughout the Azure Heaven Realm and Minlu Realm. Yi Huan was still chattering on and on, but he received a lukewarm glare from Mu Yan. Isn't it all thanks to your efforts in promoting me? Hearing the cold and sarcastic words spoken in the girl's clear and pleasant voice, Yi Huan shivered, shrank his neck and moved back. Isn't what I said the truth? Boss, since you're so powerful, you should let everyone know about it. Otherwise, wouldn't there always be people who don't have eyes looking for trouble? Mu Yan rolled her eyes and did not want to talk nonsense with Yi Huan, the idiot. She didn't know how Yi Huan managed to spread her reputation in the trial field. As a result, the people who were born in the training grounds were terrified of her. The moment he heard that she was coming, he immediately fled. Not to mention those who took the initiative to look for trouble, there was not a single one now. Although Mu Yan was overbearing and unbridled, he was too embarrassed to casually abuse others and steal their jade tablets. As a result, her points stopped at 6th place, unable to advance any further. This guy actually had the nerve to boast. Chapter 930. Mu Yan shakes her head and is about to speak when her eyes suddenly darken. Her line of sight turns to the nearby main road. She sees a tall figure slowly walking over from the hazy dust. It's a young man, carrying a long sword on his back. There's only a proud expression on his not-so-handsome face. But those eyes are burning with a blazing flame, as if they can burn everything between heaven and earth. Mu Yan slowly stands up, slightly narrowing her eyes as she looks at the man approaching her. Wei Zi and Yi Huan follow Mu Yan's line of sight and suddenly widen their eyes. The two of them almost shout in unison, "Qini Zhou." That's right, this unprepossessing, aloof, and pure youth in front of them is the #1 genius of the Azure Sky world participating in the sect selection, Qini Zhou. Qini Zhou doesn't even look at Wei Zi and Yi Huan, his line of sight falling on Mu Yan. There's no trace of lust or surprise, only full of fighting spirit. Jun Mu Yan. Mu Yan faintly smiles, "Young Master Qin, I've long heard of your great name." Qini Zhou grabs the long sword on his back, "Are you willing to fight me?" Wei Zi and Yi Huan gasp, looking at Mu Yan in amazement and worry, then looking at Qini Zhou. Only Mu Yan's expression hasn't changed in the slightest. She's still holding the unfinished earth spirit fruit in her hand, unhurriedly saying, "There's still one more day until the end of the trial. If you and I fight now, you're not afraid that someone will take advantage of you in the end?" Qini Zhou shakes his head, resolute and decisive, "Impossible. In this trial field, besides you, no one can surpass my points." Mu Yan stares blankly, taking out the jade tablet to look. Then her face shows an astonished expression. She sees that Qini Zhou, who was originally #1, is still #1. But his points have gone from more than 400 to more than 800. There's a gap of more than 400 points between him and the 2nd place. And Enchantress, who was originally #2, has already fallen down, staying at the 9th position, already in a state of elimination. This kind of point change, it's very clear without much explanation. Qini Zhou defeated Enchantress, taking away half of Enchantress's points. Mu Yan's gaze once again falls on Chinijo. She sees the young man's proud face, like a raging battle. This Chinijo was different from her. She had snatched his jade tablet purely because she was too lazy to kill the single-horned rhinoceros. As for Chinijo, after he had killed enough rhinoceroses, he began to look for experts to challenge. He really wanted to fight. The corner of Mayan's mouth hooks up into a faint smile. With a flip of her wrist, the Tian Mo Chin floats in midair. Then, it suddenly rotates, and multicolored rays of light blossom, finally merging into a sparkling and translucent longsword. Alright, let's use this battle to determine who is the number one person in this trial. On the windless square, everyone was seething with excitement. They're facing each other, they're facing each other. Jun Mayan is really facing young Master Qin. Who will win? Is it the demonist Jun Mayan who kills without batting an eyelid, or the number one genius of the Azure Sky Realm, young Master Qin? The cute boy from the carefree school grabbed his master's sleeve nervously. Master, who do you think will win? Can Big Sister win? Chapter 931. Qian Hongxiao clenched his fists and looked at Qian Feng. Uncle, who do you think will win? Although Jun Mayan's talent and strength are very powerful, she is still too young. She also came from the Min Lu world. Qian Feng said with certainty, so the winner of this battle will definitely be Chinijo. In fact, Chinijo was also the person the Leaf Fire sect thought the most of in this selection. Although Jun Mayan had appeared out of nowhere and attracted everyone's attention. But the person the Leaf Fire sect and Qian Feng wanted the most was definitely Chinijo. Qian Hongxiao's eyes darted around as he whispered, Uncle, if Jun Mayan loses to Chinijo, how about you give Jun Mayan to me? After this sect tournament, you can only take in one disciple. That Chinijo will definitely be the best candidate. If Jun Mayan is taken back as a disciple, wouldn't it weaken Uncle's prestige in the sect if she were to be snatched away by the other peaks? How about? He licked his lips. How about giving her to your nephew? As long as your nephew takes her body and tames her, even if she doesn't become a cultivation vessel, she'll definitely be loyal to Uncle and won't dare to be disloyal. Hearing this, Qian Feng's face revealed a look of hesitation. Let's first see how long Jun Mayan can last under Chinijo's hands. Qian Hongxiao knew that his uncle's words meant that he had already given in, so he was immediately overjoyed. Seeing Mayan's enchanting smile on the virtual projection, he swallowed his saliva as his eyes filled with greed and brutality. Ha ha ha, Jun Mayan, you are destined to fall into my hands. While the people in the square were engaged in a flurry of discussion, in the training ground, Mayan and Chinijo were already locked in battle. Wei Zi and Yi Huan watched from afar as their hearts leaped to their throats. However, even though their eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets, they could not tell who had gained the upper hand in this battle. A loud boom resounded. A huge ravine appeared on the vast grassland. The entire training ground seemed to shake as the sky changed color. Wei Zi and Yi Huan's faces were pale as they looked worried. This was because they saw that the sword strike that could change the color of the sky was slashed out by Chinijo with the sword in his hand. For Wei Zi and Yi Huan, such a powerful and terrifying strength was simply unimaginable. In the sky, a moon-white figure suddenly retreated, barely dodging Chinijo's sword. But just as she stands still, a trace of blood still overflows from the corner of Mayan's mouth. Her body was covered with sword wounds of various sizes. Chinijo leaps in front of Mayan, the long sword in his hand pointing at the ground. His face is still proud, but there's a trace of admiration in his eyes as he looks at Mayan. It's been a long time since I've fought to my heart's content. If I'm not wrong, you should have just reached the realm of Anidia, but you can actually last so long under my hands. If I give you another 2 years, I'm afraid I won't be a match for you. The corner of the girl's mouth slowly curled up into a faint smile. A bright smile bloomed on her face. However, it wasn't the usual mockery and carelessness. Instead, it was a proud smile formed from the carefreeness of a person who had unleashed all of his might and a crazily burning fighting spirit. Yes, the expression on Mayan's face right now is even more untamed than Chinijo's, even more disdainful of the world. Chapter 932. Immediately after, an invisible energy is slowly released from the tip of her sword, forming a circle that envelopes Mayan and Chinijo. I also feel that fighting with you makes me very happy. It's been a long time since I've had such a carefree fight. Mayan slowly says in a voice that only the two of them can hear, so, in order to show my respect to you as an opponent, I will go all out in the following fight. This is. Feeling the energy abruptly spreading from the tip of Mu Yan's sword, as well as the sudden clumsiness and powerlessness of his body, Chinijo's eyes suddenly widen. His proud and calm face finally shows an aghast expression. How is this possible? How could you? Master Domain. Windless Square. I said that young Master Chin is the strongest. No matter how powerful this June Mayan is, she's still being suppressed by young Master Chin. Is there a need to say it? Young Master Chin is the #1 genius of Azure Heaven Realm, and also the son of the Chin family's first wife. How could a nobody from Min Lujia compare to him? I just bet on young Master Chin to win. It seems that he's going to win. You also said that June Mayan would win. Now quickly take out the crystals. Wait a minute. Suddenly, someone screams in shock, look. The battle has changed. What's going on? Why is young Master Chin suddenly being suppressed by June Mayan, and doesn't even have the strength to fight back? This is impossible. This June Mayan must have used some kind of demonic technique. In the corner of the square, Shi Qing suddenly stands up from his chair. He doesn't even know that a large piece of his tattered clothes has been taken away by the chair. He widens his eyes, staring at the battle in the virtual projection, and mutters, "Impossible, this is impossible. How could a little girl who's not even 20 grasp domain?" "Master, what are you saying?" The cute youth asks. Jia seems to be winning. Master, you lost the bet just now. Give me the crystals, you can't go back on your word. Shi Qing was still in a state of shock as he watched for a while. Then, he retracted his gaze and glared at his disciple. Acting shamelessly, he said, "I don't have any crystal stones right now. I owe you crystal stones. When your junior martial uncle comes back, you can ask him yourself." The cute youth was dumbfounded and shouted, "Master, you can't act shamelessly." If he had the guts to ask junior martial uncle for crystal stones, he would be able to fly to the sky. After Mu Yan used the star domain, the battle only lasted for a quarter of an hour before Chinijo was defeated. Without the slightest hesitation, Chinijo throws his jade card to Mu Yan and leaves the training field. Before he left, he looked deeply at Mu Yan, his eyes burning with fighting spirit. "Today, I have lost wholeheartedly, but one day, I will become stronger and defeat you." Mu Yan smiles faintly and erases Chinijo's divine sense from the jade tablet, replacing it with her own. Seeing Chinijo's figure disappear, she said unhurriedly, "Anytime." In the next moment, the leaderboard changed. First place, June Mayan, 832 points. After a moment of silence in the windless square, it was thoroughly boiling. Who would have thought that June Mayan, who was at the bottom with 0 points just a day ago, would actually climb all the way to first place without killing a single-horned rhinoceros, and only relying on killing to snatch the jade card. Chapter 933. Especially Chini Zhou's last sentence, "I'm sincerely convinced of my loss," made everyone's last bit of doubt towards Mu Yan disappear without a trace. In the entire square, including the elders of the major sects, only Shi Qing could see that Mu Yan had used domain. But they also knew that Mu Yan must not have used any dishonorable means to make Chini Zhou sincerely convinced. On the plaza, a Xiuzha from Min Lu Jia shouted, "Min Lu Jia, Jun Mu Yan, first." Then, the practitioners of Min Lu Jia echoed one after another. "Min Lu Jia, Jun Mu Yan, first is well-deserved. First is well-deserved." Qian Hongxiao's expression was so unsightly that it almost dripped water. He originally thought that Chini Zhou would definitely defeat Mu Yan in this battle. At that time, he could ask his uncle for this woman to be his cultivation furnace. But he never thought that Mu Yan would actually win. This slut, she must have used some dishonorable means. And that trash Chini Zhou, he couldn't even beat a woman. Qian Hongxiao's face twisted, but his desire grew because he couldn't obtain it. No, he absolutely wanted Mu Yan to become his, Qian Hongxiao's, plaything. After Chini Zhou's figure disappeared, the exhausted Mu Yan couldn't hold on any longer and fell to the ground on her butt. "Miss, are you okay?" Wei Zi and Yi Huan rushed over nervously. Mu Yan waved her hand, "I just consumed too much spiritual power." Wei Zi heard this and immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Then, she couldn't help but become excited. "Miss, you're really too amazing. You actually defeated young Master Qin, and you're already first in points. First place. Boss is the boss." Yi Huan flattered, "He didn't kill a single horned rhinoceros the whole time. He only used a sword to snatch the jade plate, and he actually got first place." Mu Yan waved her hand in disgust, "Go somewhere cool and stay. I'm going to rest for 2 hours, don't disturb me." Wei Zi nodded repeatedly, "Miss, rest well. I'll keep a lookout for you." Yi Huan excitedly got up and left. He wanted to go and properly publicize the boss's glorious deeds for the rest of the people, so that he could be in the limelight. Maybe there would even be people who would curry favor with him and give him points. Because of Yi Huan, the informant, the news that Jun Mayan defeated Chini Zhou and climbed to the top of the scoreboard not only spread throughout Windless Square, but even the remaining people in the trial field also spread it by word of mouth and knew it clearly. There was less than half a day left until the end of the second round of the assessment. There were only a few one-horned rhinoceroses left in the training field. There were only about 20 lucky survivors, and most of them only hoped to survive until the end of the test. Almost everyone had tacitly acknowledged the fearsomeness and power of the death god, Jun Mayan. They had tacitly agreed that the first place was hers. No one wanted to snatch it from her, and no one dared to. But that was only almost. In a corner of the vast prairie, several people are hiding behind rocks. From time to time, they would poke their heads out to look at Jun Mayan, who's in the middle of the prairie adjusting her breathing, and Wei Zi, who's guarding her. These people were the lucky survivors of the Bright Moon sect. Chen Xiuxiu's eyes are firmly fixed on Mu Yan's figure in the distance, her eyes revealing deep hatred, jealousy, and fear. Chapter 934. Do you think that Chini Zhou is so eager to win? She defeated Chini Zhou, so she must have been seriously injured. If we go and snatch her jade card now, she won't be able to fight back, and we can jump to the top of the scoreboard. Lu Ruoxuan shakes her head in alarm. No, how can we do that? We can't take advantage of someone's difficulties. Peng Yunfei also frowns. Everyone in the training field knows about Jun Mayan's strength. What if her injuries aren't very serious? If we snatch her jade card, wouldn't that be sending a sheep into a tiger's den? That's too risky. Chen Xiuxiu sneers. not that serious. Don't you see that she's covered in blood, and she's been sitting cross-legged for an hour without moving? That slut Wei Zi is guarding her, not daring to move a single step. If this isn't serious injury, then what is? Chen Xiuxiu's burning gaze sweeps over everyone, her words carrying a deep temptation. Jun Mayan has more than 800 points now. If we snatch it, even if we divide it evenly, we can still rise to the top 10. Don't you know what it means to rise to the top 10? That means that they might be able to directly enter the inner sect of a large sect. But now, apart from Lu Ruoxuan, the rest of them are only in the 30s, and there are even some in the 40s. This ranking can let them be accepted by some small sect, but they can only enter the outer sect. That's a difference of heaven and earth. Lu Ruoxuan shakes her head again and again with a pale face. No, how can we do that? Senior sister, we can't take advantage of someone's difficulties and be so vicious. Forget it. Chen Xiuxiu looks at her fiercely, sneering. You're in the top 10, of course you can pretend to be a white lotus. But that slut Jun Mayan harmed me like this, I must take revenge this time. You bunch of cowards, since you don't dare to come over, then Jun Mayan's points are all mine. Lu Ruoxuan, in a moment, my points will be higher than yours, and I'll enter a sect better than yours. Don't be jealous. Ha ha ha. Saying that, Chen Xiuxiu steals her heart and goes straight to Mayan's direction. Lu Ruoxuan could not help but bite her lips as Chen Xiuxiu's words, later on, my score will be higher than yours, so I'll enter a sect better than yours. The expressions of the other members of the Bright Moon sect also changed. Wariness flashed in their eyes for a moment, and then greed flashed in the next. Pang Yunfei suddenly gritted his teeth and said, let's go and take a look. What if he could really get Mayan's points and enter a large sect? Wei Zi is carefully guarding Mayan's side, wiping the bloodstains on her face. Suddenly, a sharp, mocking voice is heard. Jun Mayan's injuries from her fight with Qin Yizhou aren't light, she's already dying. Nonsense. Wei Zi reflexively turned around and shouted, Miss only needs to rest for 2 hours and she will be fine. Ha 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 ha. Chen Xiuxiu laughs heartily, looking at Wei Zi like she's looking at an idiot. In other words, Jun Mayan is really injured, and now she doesn't have the strength to fight back. Saying that, she glances at the people following behind her. Did you hear that? Now is the best opportunity to grab Jun Mayan's points. If you guys don't want it, I can monopolize these 400 points. The eyes of Pang Yunfei and the others fall on Mayan, and they all shine with a brilliant light that is determined to win. Wei Zi's complexion turns deathly pale in a split second. Recommendation. Chapter 935. Wei Zi's complexion turns deathly pale in an instant. At this moment, she really wants to ruthlessly slap herself in the face. How could she be so stupid? So stupid. She couldn't help the miss at all, yet she still leaked information to the miss's enemy. What do you want to do? Wei Zi's eyes redden as she stands in front of Mayan, her body trembling uncontrollably. What do I want to do? Chen Xiuxiu sneers. Jun Mayan, that slut, embarrassed me in front of so many people, and even caused my skin to be burned and my face to be disfigured. I've long wanted to dismember her body into 10,000 pieces. Today, I spared her dog life because of the rules of the training field. If you're sensible, you'd better obediently hand over that slut and your own jade card to me, otherwise, I don't know how to hold back. Wei Zi meets Chen Xiuxiu's sinister and tyrannical gaze, and her body unconsciously trembles. But very quickly, she straightens up her small body and bites her lip. I can give you my jade card and my points, but you can't touch the Mississippi. Who do you think you are, daring to talk terms with me? Chen Xiuxiu swings her hand in the air. In a split second, a slap is thrown on Wei Zi's face. Wei Zi only feels a burning pain on her face, but she only shakes a little before she stands up straight again and stands in front of Mayan, not even blinking her eyes. You can take my jade card, but if you want to touch the miss, you'll have to step over my dead body. Qin Xiuxiu's eyes flash with irritation and killing intent. Little slut, do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? With that, she swings the long sword in her hand and attacks Wei Zi. Wei Zi scrambles to condense her water spiritual power to resist. She has very little fighting experience. Although she has the same third-class water spiritual root as Qin Xiuxiu, her cultivation is 2 levels lower than Qin Xiuxiu's. At the beginning, she was struggling left and right, simply in a very difficult situation. But slowly, a melodious music seems to ring in Wei Zi's mind. Every time she practiced, Mu Yan would play this piece for her. Wei Zi doesn't know what's special about this song, but whenever the miss plays it, she feels that her sword is particularly smooth. The condensation and control of water spiritual power also becomes handy. Now that the young miss was recuperating from her injuries, there was clearly no sound of the zither, but her ears seemed to be ringing with the melodious sound of the zither. Then, naturally, Wei Zi's sword aura became smooth and smooth. Moreover, there was a faint, piercingly cold aura within the edge of her sword, making it impossible for anyone to hide. At this moment, Qin Xiuxiu was the one who was in dire straits. After 10 moves, Qin Xiuxiu staggered and fell to the ground. Wei Zi's sword was pressed against Qin Xiuxiu's neck as she panted heavily. Her face was filled with disbelief. She won, oh. She actually defeated Qin Xiuxiu, whose cultivation was 2 levels higher than hers. Full of excitement, Wei Zi looks at Mayan, who is still adjusting her breathing. All of this was given to her by Mississippi. Qin Xiuxiu couldn't believe it. I actually lost to you, you little bitch. Tell me, did you use some kind of demonic technique? She bared her fangs and brandished her claws, wanting to pounce on him. Wei Zi closed her eyes and steeled her heart. She thrust the tip of her sword forward and pierced Qin Xiuxiu's shoulder. Qin Xiuxiu screamed. You, don't move. Otherwise, I won't be polite. Chapter 936. The more Wei Zi speaks, the smoother her voice becomes, and the straighter her back becomes. She pulls out the sword from Qin Xiuxiu's shoulder and points it at her neck again. The seriousness and determination on her small face make people believe that she can do what she says. As long as you don't hurt the miss, I'll let you go. Qin Xiuxiu feels the coldness on her neck and the pain on her shoulder. Where is the arrogance from just now? She cries, Senior brother, senior sister, save me. Quickly save me. Pang Yunfei's gaze sweeps from Qin Xiuxiu's face to Mayan, his eyes blazing and complicated. Xiuxiu, don't worry, this is the training field, the elders of the big sects won't allow you to die. But as you said, there's only one chance for us to get Mayan's points and enter the big sections. Qin Xiuxiu widens her eyes in disbelief. Senior brother, what are you saying? Don't you care about my life or death? Before Pang Yunfei can speak, Senior brother Luo and Senior brother Zhang are already anxiously saying, it seems that Mayan has really been seriously injured, this is a rare opportunity. Don't talk nonsense with her, let's go grab her jade tablet first, it'll be bad if she wakes up. Saying that, the few of them quickly spread out, outflanking Mu Yan from all sides. Wei Zi's eyes widen, she can't believe that they don't care about the life and death of their fellow disciples. She pushes her sword forward. Stop, if you come any closer to the miss, I'll really do it. Ah! Qin Xiuxiu screams in horror. Feeling the pain and stickiness on her neck, she suddenly roars hysterically, Lu Ruoxuan, junior sister, aren't you the kindest? How could you just watch me die like that? Quickly tell them to stop, save me. Lu Ruoxuan's face shows a struggling expression, shaking her head as if in extreme pain. She sobs, I don't know, I don't think I can take advantage of people's difficulties, but senior brother said that the training field is a competition where the weak are prey to the strong. Moreover, I really hope to enter a big sect with senior brother and sister. Chinshushu shouts in disbelief, you want to enter a big sect, so you want to abandon me? You want to sacrifice me? Pang Yunfei's face darkened. Jean, don't waste your breath on her. Haven't we been implicated enough by her along the way? With her willful and selfish personality, even if she dies, she deserves it. Lu Ruoxuan cried, I'm sorry, senior sister, I also want to save you, but I can't. Woo. At this time, Pang Yunfei and the others are already very close to Mayan. Wei Zi can no longer pay attention to Chinshushu. She flies over and stands in front of Mayan, tangling with the three people. However, Wei Zi's victory over Chinshushu was already a fluke. Pang Yunfei and the other two's cultivation were much higher than hers. How could Wei Zi be a match for them? In just a short moment, Wei Zi had already been beaten to the ground, her whole body in pain. Pang Yunfei mercilessly kicked Wei Zi's body, sending her flying. His gaze shifts to Mayan's waist, staring at it with a burning gaze. There was an inconspicuous jade tablet hanging there. Quite a few people in the training field know that June Mayan has always liked to hang the jade tablet on her waist. It was as if it was telling others to come and snatch it. Chapter 937. And the accumulated points in the jade card are increasing. Up to now, it has more than 800 points, ranking first. Pang Yunfei swallows his saliva. As long as he takes away the jade card and attaches his divine sense to it, then he can get more than 400 points. More than 400 points. If he can jump to first place, he can even enter the inner sect of the Leaf Fire sect as he pleases. At that time, he would be able to marry his little junior sister grandly. Just as Pang Yunfei takes a step towards Mu Yan, his feet are suddenly hugged. Wei Zi's face is covered in blood, but she is tightly hugging his legs, not letting him go forward. I won't allow you to touch Miss Hindrance. Pang Yunfei sneers and viciously kicks Wei Zi in the face. Wei Zi only feels a roar in her head as blood drips from her eyes, ears, mouth and nose. Her hand instinctively loosens, but when she thinks of Mu Yan's points being taken away by them, she suddenly hugs him tightly again. Pang Yunfei looks at Zhang and Luo who are approaching Mu Yan faster than him. Who knows if the jade card will still be given to him after they take it away. Pang Yunfei is burning with anxiety as he viciously steps on Wei Zi's face and back several times. Then he kicks away the almost unconscious Wei Zi and suddenly pounces towards Mu Yan. The points are mine, none of you are allowed to snatch them from me. He roars and dares to snatch the jade card from Mu Yan's waist before Zhang and Luo can. Senior brother Luo anxiously says, eldest senior brother, we agreed to split it equally. Pang Yunfei coldly smiles. Holding the jade card, he directly imprints his divine sense on it. Zhang and Luo stare at his actions, their faces are abnormally ugly. But the next moment, they hear Pang Yunfei scream as he throws the jade card in his hand away. Almost at the same time, the girl sitting cross-legged on the ground slowly opens her eyes. She raised her hand slightly and caught the jade token that was flying out of her hand. After Mu Yan receives the jade card, she mockingly glances at Pang Yunfei who is rolling on the ground holding his head. With just this bit of divine sense, he wants to erase the mental power that she imprinted on the jade card. What kind of joke is this? Her divine sense was so powerful that even that ghost fairy from the Shushan continent could not deal with it. Mu Yan didn't look at the people of the Bright Moon sect anymore. Instead, she walked straight to Wei Zi. Wei Zi struggled to open her eyes. Her body was riddled with wounds, and the pain was unbearable. But seeing Mu Yen wake up unscathed, she immediately smiles. "Miss, that's great, they didn't take away your jade card." Mu Yen sighs, taking out a pill from her space and feeding it to her. "Silly girl, why didn't you wake me up directly?" Once the elixir enters her abdomen, coupled with Mayan's spiritual power, Wei Zi immediately feels much better. "But miss, you said to heal for an hour, idiot." Mu Yen knocks her on the head. "It's a breath adjustment. Don't ever try to be brave again, understand?" Wei Zi showed an embarrassed expression and nodded. After dealing with Wei Zi's injuries, Mayan raises her head. But by this time, most of the people from the Bright Moon sect had already fled. Only Pang Yunfei and Chen Xiuxiu, who were injured, were able to stay in her line of sight because they couldn't run fast. Mu Yen flips her wrist, and the Tian Mo Qin appears. Her fingertips lightly move, and 2 strings fly out. In the blink of an eye, they roll up the 2 people and throw them in front of Mu Yen. Chapter 938. His little face was filled with righteous indignation. "Miss, these despicable people actually want to take advantage of your precarious situation to steal your jade tablet. And the Bright Moon sect claims to be a righteous sect of Min Lu domain. They are truly shameless." Chen Xiuxiu gritted her teeth and said, "Snatch more jade plates. The strong prey on the weak. This is the rule of the competition. Jun Mayan, didn't you snatch your points from others?" Why can't I snatch yours?" Mu Yen chuckled. "Not bad, you've got some backbone. The weak are prey to the strong. I like this saying." As she speaks, she hooks her finger, and the 2 jade plates on Chen Xiuxiu and Pang Yunfei's bodies fly out as if they are hooked by something, and directly fall into Mu Yan's hands. When Chen Xiuxiu and Pang Yunfei see that their jade cards have been taken away, they immediately become anxious. "Jun Mayan, give me back my jade card." Pang Yunfei swallows his anger and says, "Jun Mayan, your current score is already far ahead of us. It's useless even if you snatch our jade cards. Why don't you return it to us? It was our fault for snatching your jade token this time. We are willing to apologize to you." Mu Yen unhurriedly says, "What you say also makes sense. Your points aren't even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth." Chen Xiuxiu and Pang Yunfei were delighted to hear this. However, he heard Mu Yen say, "But you guys beat up my people and want to steal my things. I'm not happy in my heart, but how can I vent it? How about this?" She looked at the 2 of them and revealed a meaningful smile. "You 2 can fight each other until I'm satisfied. How about that? In order to ensure fairness, the 2 of you will take turns to hit each other. 1 punch each, no one can hit more until I'm satisfied." Pang Yunfei and Chen Xiuxiu's faces turned ugly. This Jun Mayan is simply toying with them like monkeys. "I'm just playing with you like monkeys." Mu Yen smiled and tossed the 2 jade tablets in his hands. "You can choose not to accept it. By the way, do you know what happened to the people from the Setting Sun sect who bullied Wei Zi?" Pang Yunfei and Chen Xiuxiu's faces instantly turned pale. They have indeed heard that the people of the Setting Sun sect were miserably bullied by Mayan. It was said that even though his body wasn't heavily injured, his intelligence was crippled. From then on, he was equivalent to an idiot. What was the difference between this and death? No, perhaps it was even worse than death. When Pang Yunfei and the others first heard about it, they thought that it was an exaggeration. But now, hearing Mayan mention it again, he only felt his heart tremble. Pang Yunfei gritted his teeth and gave Chen Xiuxiu a tight slap. Chen Xiuxiu felt dizzy from the beating, and her qi and blood surged. She screamed, "Senior brother, you hit me." Mu Yen leisurely smiles. "Now, it's your turn, Chen Xiuxiu." The red light in Chen Xiuxiu's eyes flickered. She suddenly lifted her leg and kicked Pang Yunfei's abdomen. Very quickly, the two of them began to fight back and forth. Not long after, they were covered in cuts and bruises and could not even get up. Because it was a fight, even the trial grounds wouldn't judge it as abuse, so it didn't violate the rules. June Mayan, you've seen enough of a joke. Return our jade cards, to us. Mu Yen faintly smiles and throws the jade tablet away. The two jade tokens fell into Wei Zi's hands. Eliminate them. Chapter 939. Mu Yen slowly walks up to her and sneers. I remember that when we first met, I said that I wouldn't offend people if they don't offend me. But you've challenged my bottom line again and again. Do you think that I'm good and easy to bully? Since you still don't want to leave the trial field, why don't you let me cripple your mind like Yin Xiang? Chen Xiuxiu's face is instantly full of horror. No, I don't want to become an idiot. I'd rather be eliminated. I'm willing to be eliminated. After Wei Zi attaches her divine sense to the jade card, Chen Xiuxiu and Pang Yunfei's figures suddenly disappear. On the scoreboard, the two, who were originally ranked around the 30s, suddenly drop to the 40s and 50s. With such a result, they basically don't need to think about entering a big sect. Mu Yan's fingers move slightly, and the Tian Mo Qin turns around and turns into a crystal-clear sword. Miss, what are you going to do? Wei Zi can't help but ask when she sees the biting cold killing intent coming from her. Mu Yan smiles slightly, her smile bright and tempting. Silly girl, of course I'm going to avenge you. These people can't possibly think that they can escape unscathed after bullying my people, right? These people from the Bright Moon sect, none of them can escape. The last 4 hours of the trial field should have passed uneventfully. Because most people are afraid to grab other people's points, only to kick an iron plate and finally cause them to lose half of their points. They would rather keep their current score and enter the sect they like. But the fact is, this tranquility is completely broken. Heroine, spare me, spare me. My points are just enough for me to enter the Wind and Thunder Pavilion. Please don't take my jade card, boo-hoo. Yi Huan looks at the man kneeling on the ground without any backbone and spits disdainfully, but she doesn't feel that this is very similar to her in the past. What are you shouting for? Who said that our boss wants to take your jade card? I just want to ask you, have you seen these people from the Bright Moon sect? With that, she takes out a few paintings and shows them to the man. Hearing that he won't take his jade card, the man is immediately overjoyed. He stares at them for a while and suddenly says loudly, yes, I've seen this man. Very good. Yi Huan smiled and threw him a jade token. This is your reward. The man took the jade tablet in a daze and didn't react for a moment. Yi Huan said again, remember, go and tell all the survivors in the trial field that these people from the Bright Moon sect offended our boss. They were so audacious that they wanted to take advantage of the fact that our boss hadn't recovered his spiritual power after the battle with young Master Qin. They even injured little Z. Boss is furious. He's going to make those trash from the Bright Moon sect pay the price. Pass down my orders. If any of the survivors dare to protect the people of the Bright Moon sect, you all know the consequences. Understood. The man nodded repeatedly. Then, he said in disgust, those country bumpkins of the Bright Moon sect are from the Min Lu domain. I've always found them an eyesore. No, boss, I'm not talking about you. You're the light of Min Green Realm. Cough, boss, just you wait, I'll get everyone to help you find them. Yi Huan patted him on the shoulder with a gratified expression. You'll definitely benefit from working for our boss. Boss said that the jade tokens of these people from the Bright Moon sect will belong to whoever provides the clues when boss captures them. Chapter 940. Mu Yan rolls her eyes. Who's your boss? With the help of the remaining survivors in the trial field, Mu Yan quickly takes away Wu Fangyi's and Zhang Luo's jade cards in the next hour. This time, the contestants watching Mu Yan brutally teach the three people a lesson. Not only do they not feel fear, they even surround her and excitedly cheer. Boss, you can do it. Boss is mighty. Boss is invincible. You bunch of rats dare to offend boss, you simply deserve to die 10,000 times. Mu Yan puts her hand to her forehead. These people have no end, making her lose interest in abusing and retaliating against the enemy. Wu Fangyi's trio's jade cards are thrown to the practitioners who provided the information, and the scoreboard changes again. The people who obtained the jade cards are overjoyed. With these dozens of additional points, they are even more sure of entering the sect they like. There's only half an hour left until the end of the second assessment. The only person they haven't found is Lu Ruoxuan. Lu Ruoxuan's current points are still high in the top 15. Mu Yan slightly narrows her eyes, her expression indescribable. Sure enough, it's not her illusion, Lu Ruoxuan's luck is really frighteningly good. It would be great if her baby was here. Xiao Bao's luck is truly invincible. This can be seen from how Xiao Bao could find the Tian and Mo Qin at a glance. Boss, I found that woman. Just as she's thinking about it, a practitioner's shout comes from not far away. Mu Yan touches her nose. It can't be, just thinking about her baby, and her luck has gone up. Next to a damp puddle, Lu Ruoxuan cuts a sorry and haggard figure. When Mu Yan arrives, she is surrounded by the cultivators who are helping her to search for them. But no one has the nerve to make a move. After all, Lu Ruoxuan looks too weak, too delicate, too small. Most of the remaining practitioners are grown men, and they more or less have pity for this kind of woman. As for Mu Yan, well, her appearance is far superior to Lu Ruoxuan's, her temperament is graceful, and her figure is slender and graceful. But the problem is, it's so scary. You can't treat her like a weak girl at all. Boss, you're here. Boss, take a look and see if this woman is the surviving member of the Bright Moon sect that you're looking for. Boss, I was the one who discovered this woman. Shouldn't her points belong to me? He. Mu Yan ignores this group of chattering practitioners who are as noisy as ants in the market. Her gaze falls on Lu Ruoxuan. Lu Ruoxuan's tears fall all of a sudden. Jun Mayan, you've gone too far. You actually snatched away my senior brother and sister's jade plates. They could have entered the outer sect of a large sect, but now, all their years of hard work have gone to waste. Mu Yan raises her eyebrows. Oh, you're starting to play a weak, kind, and bitter drama again. Before she could speak, Yi Huan sneered and said, Bah. You said our boss went too far. When you wanted to snatch our boss's jade token, why didn't you think about whether you went too far or not? Do you think that by crying and pretending to be pitiful, you will really be pitiful? When our Xiao Zi was beaten black and blue all over, why didn't you feel sorry for her? Lu Ruoxuan's face stiffened. Although she looked pitiful, she was good at standing on the moral high ground. Yi Huan was a smooth talker, but he couldn't be compared with Yi Huan. Chapter 941. Lu Ruoxuan looks at Mayan and Wei Zi next to her. I can apologize on behalf of my senior sister and brother for robbing your jade card and injuring Miss Wei Zi. But they have also been punished. What's more, I didn't do anything to you at all. I still wanted to persuade my senior brother and sister. You're talking nonsense. Wei Zi's face is flushed with anger. When I restrained Qin Xiuxiu, I clearly told you to stand up, but you said that the trial field is a competition where the weak are prey to the strong. Not only did you not stop them, but you also urged them to fight. I didn't. Lu Ruoxuan cries and shakes her head desperately. I really just want to enter a big sect with my senior brother and sister. Yi Huan spat. How fucking shameless. Taking advantage of others' difficulties to rob others' things, and you still want to say it in a dignified manner. And it's clearly your own fault, but you're crying and crying, making it seem like we bullied you. Those who originally sympathized with Lu Ruoxuan, when they hear Wei Zi and Yi Huan's words, also show a look of contempt. It should be known that most of the people who are still in the trial field are strong. Most of the people who would rob someone's jade card would fight directly. They would never do something like taking advantage of others' difficulties. Not to mention, after the battle between Mu Yan and Qini Zhou, that kind of super expert, had ended. Mayan's victory would only make people admire her, but they would never do such a shameless thing like looting a burning house. Since Lu Ruoxuan and her group could do such a shameless thing, if they want to cry now and pretend to be pitiful, they would look down on other people's IQ too much. Lu Ruoxuan has always been pitied, pampered, and tolerated by others. She has never received so many looks of disgust and disgust. Her small face is deathly pale, and her body is on the verge of collapse. Mayan clicks her tongue. This weak appearance makes her feel embarrassed to make a move. She sneers, since you want to advance and retreat together with your senior brother and sister, now that they have been eliminated, why don't you just go out and accompany them? Saying that, she hooks her finger, and the jade card in Lu Ruoxuan's bosom suddenly flies out, towards the arms of the messenger. No, don't. My jade plate. Lu Ruoxuan screamed and rushed over. Before that person could grab her jade token, Lu Ruoxuan suddenly grabbed the jade token in her hand again. Her pitiful face turned sinister for a moment, but it quickly dissipated, leaving behind only more miserable sobs. I'm begging you, please don't snatch my jade token, okay? Hoo, I know I was wrong. Jun Mayan, I apologize to you. Please let me go, okay? I worked hard to get these points. I want to leave Min Lu realm and join a large sect. Please, don't shatter my only dream, okay? Woo. Saying that, she directly kneels down and kowtows to Mu Yan again and again. Her small face was covered with tears. This time, it really caught everyone off guard. Even Mu Yan inwardly cursed, fucking dog. She really did not expect Lu Ruoxuan to be so flexible, or rather, shameless to this extent. Yi Huan spat, but it was not appropriate for him to do anything to a little girl who was crying so miserably. Chapter 942. Lu Ruoxuan raised her tearful eyes. Seeing everyone's expression, she heaved a sigh of relief and clenched the jade token in her hand. But right at this moment, Wei Zi suddenly walked over and grabbed her jade tablet. Ah! Lu Ruoxuan screamed and was about to pounce on her. Wei Zi quickly took a step back and looked at her coldly. I can't watch you bully Miss again and again. If no one is willing to be the villain, then I'd rather do it myself. Lu Ruoxuan looked at her with an accusatory gaze, her tears flowing more fiercely. How can you be so cruel? I've already knelt down and begged you, why won't you let me go? When my senior brother and senior sister beat you, I also wanted to stop them, and I've never hurt you. I beg you, don't be so cruel, return the jade token to me, this is my only hope. Because Lu Ruoxuan was crying too miserably and kneeling on the ground weakly, there were already some people looking at Wei Zi strangely. After all, even the female devil had the intention to let Lu Ruoxuan go, who would have thought that this little girl was so cruel. And everyone knew that the people in the windless square could see the performance of the contestants inside. If they left an impression of being cruel and merciless to the elders and fellow disciples, although it wouldn't affect them entering the sect, after entering the sect, wouldn't they be disliked by others? Wei Zi took a deep breath and said slowly, "You said that you've never hurt me in Miss. Then let me ask you, that time in Heaven Fragrance Restaurant, was it you who said that Miss has water spirit root, causing Miss and I to be pushed out as human cauldrons? If Miss wasn't strong enough, we might have been ruined. Like this, you still dare to say that you've never hurt Miss?" Lu Ruoxuan's face paled. I've already apologized. You think that an apology is enough for hurting others?" Wei Zi shouted sternly, "Then I'll take away your jade token and points, then apologize to you, why can't I?" Lu Ruoxuan stammered, No, I'm not. I was protecting senior sister, Pei. If that time was to protect your senior sister, then what about in Green City?" Wei Zi's face was as cold as ice. She loudly said, "Do you dare to say that you were the ones who informed the Ning family and had them take me away as a hostage to threaten the Miss? Do you know that Miss and I almost died in the Ning family? If Miss hadn't killed the Ning family's patriarch, do you think your apology would be of any use?" Whoosh! Wei Zi's words were like a huge rock stirring up 1,000 waves. Did boss really kill Ning Zongxiang from the Ning family? I remember that Ning Zongxiang is a half-step golden core. Even young Master Qin wouldn't be able to kill them easily. So boss defeated young Master Qin with his own strength. Whether it was on the square or in the training field, everyone was stunned by this matter. Especially the people from Minlu Jia, all of them were dumbstruck and indescribably excited. At that time, when the rumors said that a woman had destroyed the Ning family, they thought it was just a rumor. Now, the truth was that it was not only a woman, but a young girl who was only 20 years old. An unknown young girl had actually destroyed the #1 family of Minlu Jia. Chapter 943. If others are shocked, then Lu Ruoxuan is even more aghast. Her eyes widen as she looks at Mayan, unable to come back to her senses for a long time. You really killed the Ning family's master." "No, impossible. My family's Miss didn't die in the Ning family, and wasn't defiled in the Ning family." "Are you very unreconciled?" Wei Zi grits her teeth. "Woman, you pretend to be delicate and pitiful, but your heart is more vicious than anyone else's. If I don't teach you a lesson today, you really think that you can do whatever you want just by crying and pretending." Saying that, she directly gives the jade card in her hand to the cultivator who reported. "Don't!" Lu Ruoxuan screams, "Jun Mayan, didn't you promise to let me go? You're so kind, willing to save Wei Zi at that time. Now, can you also pity me? Those things that hurt you, they were all done by my senior sister. It really has nothing to do with me. I beg you, let her return the jade card to me." Mayan crosses her arms over her chest and sneers, "Sorry, when did I say I would let you go? But, I've already begged you like that." Mayan takes a step closer, looking down at Lu Ruoxuan who is kneeling on the ground. She slowly says, "Have you forgotten what my nickname in this trial field is? The female devil who kills without blinking an eye." This word flashes through the minds of everyone present. Lu Ruoxuan meets her gaze and shivers all over. Mayan glances at the cultivator who is holding the jade card. "What, you don't want these points?" No, I want. Saying that, she wants to erase Lu Ruoxuan's divine sense. I beg you, don't take away my points, don't take away my hope." Lu Ruoxuan kowtows to the male cultivator with all her might. Her forehead is bruised from all the kowtows, truly unspeakably pitiful. Seeing her miserable appearance, the male cultivator shows a hesitant expression. At this moment, the sound of a bell rang. This means that the second round of the assessment is over. Lu Ruoxuan reveals a look of ecstasy. She's been waiting for this moment. Fortunately, she's finally been waiting. Her points and ranking are finally preserved. However, the moment she raised her head, she suddenly saw a strange expression on the face of the male cultivator who was holding her jade tablet. He looked at her mockingly. "Do you really think that everyone will fall for your pitiful act? I don't want the points that I deserve, and I don't want to enter the big sects, but I give the opportunity to a pretentious woman like you. Do you really think I'm a fool?" The lingering sound of the bell still lingered. Lu Ruoxuan felt her figure fading away bit by bit, and the ranking on the scoreboard also changed rapidly at the last moment. Lu Ruoxuan, who was originally in the top 10, fell to the 30th place. Among the top 10, the name of the male cultivator was added. "No! My points!" Lu Ruoxuan's shrill scream was mixed with the laughter of everyone in the training field and the flattery of "Boss is mighty" before it disappeared without a trace. The second round of the sect selection had officially come to an end. First place, Min Lu Jie, Jun Mayan. From this moment onwards, this name would sweep across the entire cultivation world, leaving a mark that could never be erased. This year's sect assessment is officially over. Along with the announcement, the training field in the center of the windless square slowly disappeared. Chapter 944. Everyone's faces were filled with indescribable fatigue. But despite their fatigue, some people were beaming with joy, while others were upset and regretful. The square was filled with enthusiastic applause. Then, everyone's eyes turned to one person. Jun Mayan. It was as if she had descended from the sky, but everyone's jaws had dropped to the ground. She was like a natural light source, making it impossible for people not to look at her. This sect assessment has officially ended. Now, I will announce the points needed to enter each sect. Qian Feng waved his hand, and immediately a Leaf Fire sect disciple came forward, holding a piece of paper and reading it. Leaf Fire sect inner sect, 350 points, outer sect, 260 points. 5 Spirit sect inner sect, 290 points, outer sect, 180 points. Xiaoyao sect inner sect, 700 points, outer sect, 700 points. Finally, the Xiaoyao sect's admission points were announced, causing an uproar, followed by a burst of laughter. 700 points, what kind of joke is this? In the entire assessment, only Jun Mayan obtained more than 700 points. Don't tell me they want to recruit Jun Mayan. Who doesn't know that the Xiaoyao sect is a place that can't be any more broken down? Even if the score is less than 100 points, no one will go there. He actually wrote 700 points. He clearly knows that no one will go there, so he intentionally wrote an impossible score to gain face for himself. Qian Feng and company also glanced at Shi Qing, revealing a look of contempt. This old man either had a hole in his head, or he knew that no one would apply, so he just gave it up. But that's right, who didn't know how crappy the Xiaoyao sect was? Who would want to go to such a poor place that they couldn't even afford food? Qian Feng lightly coughed, indicating for everyone to quiet down. Everyone, you have one night to consider which sect you want to choose. Tomorrow morning, those who have reached the required points can directly follow the sect elders back to the sect. Regardless of whether you successfully enter the sect, I hope that everyone will continue to work hard and raise their cultivation level. Qian Feng's announcement ended, and at least half of the people who participated in the second assessment showed an extremely disappointed and regretful expression. Because of the newly announced admission points for the various sections. Even the outer sanctum of the mysterious Void sect, which had the lowest score, required 85 points. Out of the 87 participants, only the top 40 would barely be able to reach this score. The people with the most unsightly expressions were those from the Bright Moon sect. They were originally ranked within the top 40, so it was still possible for them to enter the outer sect of a small sect. But because Mu Yan took away half of his points, he was directly eliminated. Even Lu Ruoxuan, who had the best results, could only enter the worst sect, the Mystical Sky sect, after losing half of her points. Everyone from the Bright Moon sect looked at Mayan one by one, their eyes filled with resentment and hatred. But when Mayan's line of sight falls on them, they are so frightened that they want to flee in a sorry state. Mayan sneers, too lazy to pay attention to this group of cowards. June Mayan. Chi Nijo suddenly steps forward, his voice still carrying arrogance as he asks, "Which sect will you enter?" In that instant, everyone's attention, including the elders, was focused on him. Mu Yen slowly answered, "Li Fire Sect Inner Sect." Chapter 945. Mu Yen looked at the youth's departing back and rubbed her nose. This Chi Nijo was really a battle maniac. Less than a day after losing to her, he was already thinking of the next battle. Hearing Mu Yen and Chi Nijo's conversation, Qian Feng stroked his beard in satisfaction and nodded gently. The elders from the other sects heard that two peerless geniuses were going to the Leaf Fire sect. Although they were indignant, they knew that the Leaf Fire sect was not something small sects like them could compare with. Congratulations, Elder Qian. Congratulations to the Leaf Fire sect for obtaining another two peerless geniuses. Elder Qian nodded with a smile. Although he spoke modestly, his eyes shimmered with a strange light. Jun Mu Yen. He took a step forward and said in a pleasant manner, "Come to the Moon Dream Hall at 5 p.m. I have something to tell you." Mu Yen was stunned when she heard this. However, she immediately realized that the elders from the other sects were also walking towards their favorite disciples, inviting them to the Moon Dream Hall for dinner. After the training grounds disappeared, the Moon Dream Hall reappeared. It was mainly used for the elders of the various sects to rest and entertain their favorite disciples. Well, this was probably because the first two rounds of the assessment were for the sects to select disciples. Now, in the third round, it was the time for the outstanding disciples to choose their sects. Hence, Mu Yen did not have any doubts and nodded in agreement. Many people saw Qian Feng invite Mu Yen, and they were extremely envious of her. Even young Master Qin did not receive Elder Qian's hospitality. This Jun Mu Yen sure is lucky. Nonsense, don't you see how powerful our boss is? So what if it's young Master Qin? Young Master Qin was defeated by our boss. This was a participant from the training grounds. Elder Qian might have invited Jun Mu Yen because he wants to take her in as a personal disciple. I heard that Elder Qian still has an empty personal disciple spot under his name. Elder Qian was an expert at the Golden Core Realm 9. He had an important position in the Leaf Fire sect's inner sect. If she was really taken in as a personal disciple by Elder Qian, her future would be immeasurable. Many people present drew a cold gasp as they became even more envious. Sigh, the heavens are really unfair. That Jun Mu Yen is pretty, talented and strong. Tell me, how are we to live? We have to cling to the boss's thigh. Yi Huan threw his jade token complacently. His points this time could let him enter the inner core of the Wind and Thunder Pavilion, which made him overjoyed. Only those who are blind and offend the boss will end up miserably. The other people who came out of the training field nodded repeatedly. Because of Mu Yan's light, they could also enter the sect that they had expected. Then, intentionally or unintentionally, he turned to look at Pang Yunfei and the others, rejoicing in their misfortune. Pang Yunfei clenched his teeth and waved his sleeves. Let's go. The group from the Bright Moon sect quickly left the center of the plaza and returned to their own tents. Although the arduous test had ended, not a single person had a trace of relief on their faces. There was only resentment and unwillingness. Pang Yunfei fiercely slammed his palm on the table. Our Bright Moon sect actually failed at the last moment. It wasn't easy for so many people to pass the first round of assessment. Although their cultivation levels were not high and they were not strong, they had the advantage of numbers. Coupled with their cautiousness, they could have survived until the end and at least entered a small sect. But now, everything was ruined. It's that June Mayan who ruined all their dreams. Chapter 946. Pang Yunfei suddenly turned around, raised his hand, and ruthlessly slapped Qin Xiuxiu's face. Bitch, it's all your fault. If it weren't for you, how could we have gone to snatch June Mayan's jade tablet, and how could we have fallen to the point where we couldn't even enter a single sect? Qin Xiuxiu did not expect Pang Yunfei to hit her. Caught off guard, she was slapped to the ground. You hit me. Qin Xiuxiu screamed. What right do you have to hit me? Didn't you all agree to snatch June Mayan's jade card? Lu Ruoxuan sobbed. I've always advised senior sister not to take advantage of others, but senior sister refused to listen. Sob sob sob. It's all my fault. I should have stopped senior sister with all my might and not let her make a mistake. I clearly know that June Mayan is such a vicious and merciless person, but why didn't I think that senior sister's actions would implicate senior brother and senior sister? Sorry. Lu Ruoxuan blamed herself sincerely. But in the years of Pang Yunfei and the others, it confirmed the fact that Qin Xiuxiu had destroyed their dreams. Qin Xiuxiu pointed at Lu Ruoxuan and trembled all over. She could only shout, slut, whore. But she couldn't say a single word. Pang Yunfei, Wu Fangyi, and Zhang Luo had already rushed forward. He mercilessly punched Qin Xiuxiu in the face. Qin Xiuxiu felt pain all over her body. The punches and kicks of Pang Yunfei and the others landed on her body without the slightest bit of mercy, only full of hatred and venting to tear her apart. At first, Qin Xiuxiu screamed and begged for mercy, but gradually, her eyes were filled with hatred and anger. Obviously, these people are also coveting Mayan's points. They didn't even care about their own lives to obtain the jade pendants. Now that they had failed, they were actually pushing all the blame onto him. Why? They wanted to kill him. We might as well die together. Qin Xiuxiu's eyes glowed red. Streaks of black and red lines began to appear on her exposed skin. Those lines were extremely strange and terrifying, as if there were countless little insects crawling in her body. Oh! Die! All of you can go to hell. Qin Xiuxiu didn't know where she got the strength from, but she jumped up, grabbed Luo Wenxuan's hair, and bit his neck. Senior brother Luo was caught off guard. He screamed and tried to break free from Qin Xiuxiu, but he felt something penetrating his neck, making him shiver. However, Qin Xiuxiu had already thrown her aside, grabbed senior brother Zhang, and bit him again. This time, even though it was his arm that was bitten, senior brother Zhang still felt a chill run through his body, and he was unable to move. Qin Xiuxiu's mouth was full of blood, and even her eyes were bloodshot. She looked like a ferocious ghost. Pang Yunfei and the rest were shocked and quickly retreated. Meanwhile, Qin Xiuxiu had already leapt up and was charging towards the other members of the Bright Moon sect. Ah! Don't bite me. Sister Qin, what are you doing? Quick, capture her. Qin Xiuxiu, you're crazy. Chaos ensued in the Bright Moon sect's tent. Not to mention senior brother Zhang and senior brother Luo. Even a few of the Bright Moon sect disciples who had failed the first round of assessment were bitten by Qin Xiuxiu. After much difficulty, Pang Yunfei and the others finally managed to tie Qin Xiuxiu up. Chapter 947. Lu Ruoxuan couldn't help but ask, what's wrong with senior sister? Who knows what madness she's going through? Wu Fangyi grits her teeth. When did she not go crazy and implicate us? If she wasn't Elder Chen's daughter, I would really want to kill her. Lock her up, don't let her go crazy again. The people of the Mingyue sect who were bitten deal with their wounds, not paying much attention. No one knew that the disaster and destruction that belonged to them had just begun. The first one to act up is senior brother Luo. He had been drinking water, but he suddenly fell down stiffly. Lu Ruoxuan gives him a healing talisman, but it's completely useless. Then it's senior brother Zhang, senior sister Lu. Everyone's symptoms are exactly the same. Their whole body is stiff and unable to move, the spiritual power in their bodies disappears little by little, and their dantians shrink. Even the appearance of several people is aging at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, their widened eyes, which were filled with fear and despair, indicated that their minds were clear. They can only watch helplessly as they walk towards their doom. Mu Yan spreads out her hand, looking at the little red bug jumping happily in her palm. She reveals a leisurely smile. It seems that the fire thunder that she buried at that time has finally exploded in the Mingyue sect today. The one in her hand is the larva of the golden silkworm goo that she obtained from Gong Qinshua that day. Ever since Mu Yan mastered the summer bug's language of ice skill, she has a deep understanding of all kinds of insects. The golden silkworm goo that she originally regarded as a scourge and fierce beast, actually isn't that terrible after she controls it. Instead, it's a bit cute. That day, when Qin Xiuxiu was courting death, Mu Yan fed her an elixir refined from the larva of the golden silkworm goo. Because this golden silkworm goo has been specially tamed by Mu Yan using the Shin musician skill. Therefore, under normal circumstances, it won't harm people. But it's different if there's too much dark murderous energy in a person's body. When the larva of the golden silkworm goo is in Qin Xiuxiu's body, if Qin Xiuxiu is gentle and humble, good and doesn't have evil thoughts, the golden silkworm goo naturally won't act up. But isn't it nonsense to make Qin Xiuxiu not have evil thoughts, not have killing intent, and not accumulate resentment? Thus, the larva of the golden silkworm goo in Qin Xiuxiu's body is nourished little by little, until it breaks out of the cocoon and becomes a real child goo. At this time, Qin Xiuxiu's mind would be completely dominated by the golden silkworm goo. All that was left was the desire to bite and kill. As for those who were bitten by Qin Xiuxiu, their bodies would become stiff and unable to move in less than 2 hours. If this person did not have a dark and resentful aura, it would not take long for the child goo to crawl out obediently because it could not get nourishment. However, if he was a sinister person to begin with, then he would have to apologize. The golden silkworm goo's child goo would greedily absorb all the vitality and spiritual energy in his body, until he became worthless flesh and blood. Unfortunately, if the Bright Moon sect had a truly kind and peaceful person, they wouldn't have raised such a group of hypocritical, selfish and vicious disciples. "Miss, what are you looking at?" Wei Zi looked over and asked curiously. It's this little worm again. What the hell is this?" Mu Yan is about to answer when suddenly an old voice comes from behind them. "Excuse me, is this Miss Wei Zi?" The two of them turned around at the same time. A tall and thin old man was looking at the two of them with a benevolent expression, or rather, he was looking at Wei Zi. Chapter 948. I am the Misty Clouds sect leader, Sage Zhang. I wonder if Miss Wei Zi is interested in entering my Misty Clouds sect's inner sect. The Misty Clouds sect's ranking after the second round of assessment was just in the middle. The number of points needed to enter the inner sect was 180 points. And Wei Zi's score was exactly 160 points. It was barely enough to enter the Misty Clouds sect's inner sect. No, but you should have seen that my points were all obtained by Miss for me. My own strength is very, very weak. Wei Zi's face flushed red as she shook her head. However, Daoist Zhang seemed to be even more satisfied with her. "No, I saw your match against the Bright Moon sect. Your performance was unexpectedly outstanding. Your spirit of not abandoning your companions also moved this old man. And your spiritual root talent is really suitable for our Misty Cloud sect. I hope that you will consider coming to our Misty Cloud sect. We will not bury you. Saying that, Sage Xiang bowed to Mu Yan and turned to leave. Mu Yan's performance was naturally the most amazing. But Sage Xiang also knew that such a peerless genius would definitely not be their Misty Cloud sect's turn. They also did not have the qualifications to compete with the Leaf Fire sect. Looking at Sage Xiang's departing back, Wei Zi did not recover for a long time. Under the fear and uneasiness in her heart, there was a surge of warmth and joy from being recognized. Previously in the Setting Sun sect, she was also an inconspicuous existence. Just like a pitiful little forgotten in a corner. But now, the Misty Cloud sect leader actually praised her performance. Wei Zi's lips curled up into a shallow arc that even she herself did not realize. Go to the Misty Cloud sect. Mu Yan's sudden voice was like a ladle of cold water that was poured over Wei Zi's head. All the joy turned into fear. Miss, you don't want Wei Zi anymore. Wei Zi has long said that wherever you go, I will go. I will always follow you and serve you. I will do anything to repay your kindness. Mu Yan laughed and flicked her forehead. What the hell is a girl as pretty as a flower working like a horse all day? Then, the smile on her face slowly disappeared. She stared at Wei Zi's eyes and said in a deep voice, in this world, no one can always rely on another person to live. I can help you for a while, but I can't help you forever. Remember, if you don't want to be bullied, if you want to achieve your dream, you can't rely on anyone. You can only test yourself. Wei Zi stood rooted to the ground, her face pale. The young lady didn't want her anymore. Young Miss really didn't want her anymore. She would be alone again. Following that, she recalled everything that had happened in the trial field and Verdant City. She had clearly said that she would take care of the young miss, serve the young miss, and repay her kindness. But every time, other than causing trouble for the young miss, other than dragging the young miss down, there was nothing she could do. Wei Zi knew that she was too weak and useless. She had always wanted to stay by Miss's side. Was it really to repay her kindness? Or was it purely a selfish desire to rely on Miss? Wei Zi took a deep breath. All right, Wei Zi will listen to Mississippi. I will go to the Misty Cloud sect. I will work hard to become stronger there. Mu Yan watches as the fear on the little girl's face slowly fades away, replaced by persistence and determination. The corners of her mouth curled into a faint smile. Looking at Wei Zi reminded him of himself before he lost Xiaobao in his previous life. Chapter 949. Unfortunately, this is a world where the weak are prey to the strong. Such a person can't survive in this world. Tears have already gathered in Wei Zi's eyes, her face full of reluctance. Miss, if Wei Zi becomes stronger one day, can I come find you? Silly girl. Mayan touches her head. Of course you can. When you advance to the great perfection of Enidia, remember to come find me. Mayan remembers that for cultivators with third-grade spiritual roots, if they don't have a fortuitous encounter, half-step golden core is already the limit of their cultivation. If Wei Zi can really reach this realm one day, but can't advance even an inch, she doesn't mind helping this little girl. Saying so, she turns her hand over and hands a small red bug to Wei Zi. Haven't you been asking what this is? This is a kind of goo bug. Take it with you from now on. When you reach the great perfection of Enidia, pour your spiritual power into it, and it will bring you to me. Wei Zi carefully takes out a jade box and puts the red bug inside. A happy smile finally appears on her tear-stained little face. She knows that cultivation is very difficult, and to reach half-step golden core is like ascending to heaven. But in order to return to the Mrs. side, she will certainly work very hard. Woo in the evening, Mayan arrives at the Een Dream Hall on time. Although the Een Dream Hall is made from a mustard seed, the decorations inside are magnificent, without the slightest bit of falsehood. As the owner of the Een Dream Hall, Elder Chien naturally entertains Mayan in the best room. In the large room, there is a large round table filled with all kinds of delicacies. Several of the dishes are cooked with rare spirit plants. If they were put on the market, perhaps even 10 low-grade crystals wouldn't be enough to buy a meal. But Elder Chien has arranged quite a few, so that even the room is filled with rich spiritual energy and the fragrance of the food. It's enough to show how much he spends to entertain Mayan. But as soon as Mayan enters the room and meets Chien Hongxiao's burning greedy gaze, she can't help but sneer. It seems that the dishes are good, but the banquet isn't a good one. But since she's here, she smiles and casually sits down. Chien Feng politely greets her with a bit of a superior's arrogance, then directly cuts to the chase. May I know where Miss June's master is? I don't think I've heard of any family with the surname June in the Minlu boundary. Mu Yen smiled faintly and said, I don't belong to any sect, just a rogue cultivator. A bright light flashes in Chien Feng's eyes, and he says in a low voice, could it be that Miss June ascended from that lower realm's Yinwu continent? Mayan stares blankly. She didn't expect that Chien Feng would actually guess her origin. However, this was nothing to be surprised about. Her appearance was too sudden. If someone went to Minlu Jia to investigate, they would find that she had no experience growing up. Naturally, he would guess that she might not have originally belonged to the cultivation continent. Where would a low-level cultivator who didn't belong to the cultivation world come from? Apart from ascending from the Yinwu continent, he doesn't think of anyone else. Chien Feng only needed to look at her expression to know that he had guessed correctly, and he felt even more satisfied. She was a rogue cultivator who had ascended from the lower realm, which meant that she did not have anyone backing her up. As for those mortals from the Yinwu continent, how many good things have they seen in the Shuzhen continent? As long as he casually gave them some benefits, it would be enough for them to be moved to tears. Chapter 950. Chien Feng glanced at Chien Hongxiao and met his anxious and excited gaze. He could not help but nod, indicating for her to calm down. Miss June's results in the sect selection this time really made all of us look at her in a new light. I never expected that such a peerless genius would come from a desolate land like the Yinwu continent. I, Chien Feng, represent the Leaf Fire sect to welcome Miss June to join us once again. This is a greeting gift that I prepared for you. Saying that, Chien Feng took out a small bronze cauldron and stroked his beard smugly. This is a 4th-grade spirit weapon that I, Chien Feng, obtained a few years ago, Sun Parish Cauldron. It can withstand a full blow from a golden core realm cultivator. Chien Hongxiao immediately said, Miss Mu Yen, this treasure of my uncle's is something that many people in the sect want. Even I did not manage to get it from him. It shows how much uncle thinks of you. Mu Yen looked at the Sun Parish Cauldron, but she did not extend her hand to receive it. Instead, she sneered, there's no need for a greeting gift. After all, even if you enter the Leaf Fire sect, it is still unknown which peak you will go to, or which peak lord or elder you will learn from. Chien Feng's expression changed slightly. Miss June, what do you mean by that? Mu Yen did not show any signs of fear as she carried on slowly. Besides, spirit weapons, magical treasures and elixirs are not things that I want in the Leaf Fire sect. Then what does Miss June want? Chien Feng's expression had already turned ugly. He felt that Mu Yen did not know what was good for her. Mu Yen hesitated for a moment before saying, I heard that the Leaf Fire sect is the biggest sect in the Azure Heaven world. It is a cultivation sacred land that everyone yearns for. The Leaf Fire sect's inner disciples can enter the cultivation tower every month, or even enter a mystic realm for training. Is there such a thing? Upon hearing this, Qian Feng immediately laughed out loud. His face regained his arrogance and complacency. That's right, my Leaf Fire sect does have a cultivation tower. And every half a year, we can open the River of Forgetfulness mystic realm, with the azure blue world's Silver Feather Palace. The River of Forgetfulness secret realm was a rare and good place in the cultivation continent. Not only could one increase their cultivation rapidly, one could also find many rare spirit herbs and spirit fruits. Even the treasure of the Silver Feather Palace was hidden in the River of Forgetfulness secret realm. It's just that there are very few people who can enter the Forgotten River's secret territory. Even inner sect disciples can't enter as they please. Mu Yan's heart tightens. Would Xiaobao be in the River of Forgetfulness mystic realm? However, her expression did not change as she said, if I were to enter the Leaf Fire sect, I wonder when I would have the chance to enter the River of Forgetfulness mystic realm. Qian Feng smiled slightly, but did not answer Mu Yan's question. Instead, he pointed at Qian Hongxiao and said, after talking for so long, this old man still hasn't introduced you. This is this old man's nephew, Qian Hongxiao. He has just passed the age of 30, but is already a rank 5 abstinence cultivator. Qian Hongxiao immediately puts on a smile that he thinks is charming. Seeing this, Mu Yan almost vomits out last night's dinner in disgust. Mu Yan, this old man sees that you are young. You are probably not married, right? Qian Feng carried on using a genial voice. This old man has the intention of taking you in as a personal disciple. From the moment I saw you, I felt that you were like my daughter. Oh. Chapter 951. Why don't we settle your marriage today? As long as you marry Hongxiao, you will be my, Qian Feng's, niece-in-law, and also my daughter. If you want to enter the River of Forgetfulness mystic realm, I just need to do something and it will definitely be as you wish. Qian Hongxiao promptly stood up, holding a wine cup in his hand. His eyes stared directly at Mayan's face. Miss Mayan, ever since I first saw you, I fell in love with you at first sight. If I can get Miss Mayan to be my wife. Mayan did not wait for him to finish and sneered, does young Master Qian think that I'm forgetful? Back then, you said that you would take me as a concubine, and even threatened to make me a cultivation furnace, to bully and humiliate me. Isn't that you? Even if young Master Qian has forgotten what he said, he shouldn't forget that mouth that was beaten into sausages by me, right? Qian Hongxiao thought that Mayan would not mention the conflict between the two on account of Qian Feng and the Leaf Fire sect. Who knew that not only did she say it, she did not give him any leeway. This was something that even Qian Feng did not know. She could not help but look coldly at Qian Hongxiao. What's going on? Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. Qian Hongxiao's expression turned ugly for a moment, and he immediately lowered his head, repeatedly apologizing, Miss Mayan, what happened that day was all my fault. I was rude to a beauty. But it's all because that bunch of sluts from the Bright Moon sect misled me, causing me to misunderstand Miss Mayan. Now that I know that Miss Mayan is as pure as jade, the love in my heart cannot be extinguished, so I let uncle be the matchmaker. Saying that, he handed over the wine cup in his hand, and said with a face of deep affection, I punish myself with a cup, and I hope that Miss Mayan can forgive me. Qian Hongxiao drained the wine in his hand, and stared at Mayan with a sincere and longing face. Qian Feng pretended to reprimand Qian Hongxiao, and then smiled at Mayan, since it's a misunderstanding, it's good that it's resolved. Miss June, look, Hongxiao has already apologized to you very sincerely. Moreover, he really likes you. Why don't you give him another chance for my sake? As he spoke, Qian Feng poured a cup of wine and placed it in front of Mu Yan. As long as Miss June drinks this cup of wine, it means that you've forgiven this stinky brat, and the marriage between the two of you can be considered to be set. When we return to the Leaf Fire sect, I will immediately announce that you, June Mayan, are my last personal disciple. The wine cup in Qian Feng's hand was pushed in front of Mu Yan, but it was stopped by a slender, jade-like finger. Mu Yan still had a lazy smile on her face, but it didn't reach her eyes in the slightest. I'm sorry, I don't accept it. There was a moment of silence. Qian Feng and Qian Hongxiao couldn't believe their ears. They thought that Mayan might be unwilling, that she might be unwilling. However, to enter the Leaf Fire sect, she definitely did not dare to offend Qian Feng. Hence, Qian Feng believed that even if she was unwilling, she would reluctantly agree. She would wait until she entered the Leaf Fire sect before rejecting the marriage. Qian Feng took advantage of this mentality. As long as Mayan relented in this room, he would have the means to make her wholeheartedly become his nephew's woman. However, they never expected that Mayan would reject it without any hesitation. Qian Hongxiao's expression turned extremely ugly. Why? Does Miss June think that I'm not worthy of you? Chapter 952. She slowly poured herself a cup of wine and took a sip. Then she smiled and said, because I already have a husband. Qian Hongxiao and Qian Feng widened their eyes. Mu Yan doesn't give them the slightest buffer time, continuing, I not only have a husband, I also have a 5-year-old son. I don't plan to change my husband for the time being. Impossible. Qian Hongxiao abruptly comes back to his senses, his complexion unsightly as he says, June Mayan, I know that because of what happened before, you have a prejudice against me. But you don't have to say such things just to take revenge on me and ruin your reputation. No matter how he looked at it, the young lady before him couldn't possibly be more than 20 years old. In the cultivation continent, cultivators generally have a long lifespan. Those under the age of 25 were equivalent to immature boys and girls. June Mayan actually said that she was already married, and even her child was 5 years old. How could Qian Hongxiao believe her? Mayan sneers. See, she knew that no one would believe her if she told the truth. She shrugged and stood up casually. It's fine if you don't believe me. Whether you believe me or not has nothing to do with me. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. After saying that, he stood up and prepared to leave. You are not allowed to leave. Qian Hongxiao blocks in front of Mayan with an ashen face, his eyes revealing a tyrannical and ominous glint. If you don't make things clear today, don't even think about leaving. Don't tell me you think that I'll let you off just because you're already married and have a child. Mu Yan looks at Qian Hongxiao, then at Qian Feng. She saw that Qian Feng was already standing on the path that she had to pass if she wanted to leave. A terrifying pressure was emanating from his body, and it was obvious that he would not let her leave. As expected, there was no such thing as a good feast. Mayan's gaze slightly congeals. She sits back down on her seat and sneers, then what do you want? Qian Hongxiao looked down at her, his tone indescribably arrogant and rude. I'll be frank with you. This young master has taken a fancy to you and wants you to become my Dao companion. This young master has taken a liking to you, and not to make you a concubine, but to make you my Dao companion. That is your good fortune. You'll have to agree whether you agree or disagree. Don't try to fool this young master with some nonsense about having a husband and a son. Do you really think this young master is a fool to believe you? Mu Yan sighs softly, do you really want to hear the truth? Qian Hongxiao chuckled, feeling even more pleased with himself. Now you know fear. Tell me, what is the truth? The truth is, even if I didn't have a husband, I wouldn't agree. You want this young lady to marry someone like you. I think it's better for you to daydream. What did you say? Mayan chuckles. What, did I say something wrong? In terms of appearance, talent, and strength, which part of you is worthy of my attention? Or are you saying that you can defeat me with your strength? Ah, a level 5 idiot can't even beat me, a level 1 idiot. If he isn't an idiot, then what is he? You want me to marry you? A toad lusting after a swan's flesh. Mu Yan doesn't feel the slightest bit of psychological burden comparing herself to swan meat and Qian Hongxiao to a toad. On account of the Leaf Fire sect, she wanted to leave some face for the uncle and nephew. But since the uncle and nephew didn't want to save face, she didn't dare to be polite. Qian Hongxiao was so angry that he nearly vomited blood. But he couldn't refute a single word that Mayan said. Chapter 953. However, it was precisely because of this difference that he crazily desired this woman. He wanted to ravage her and make her beg for mercy and cry under his body. Qian Feng suddenly took a step forward and said coldly, Miss June, aren't you going too far by saying that? Mayan chuckles. Which word did I say? Which sentence isn't the truth? How is it too much? Qian Feng took a deep breath. Why was this woman's words so harsh? Did she not know the severity of the situation? Shouldn't ordinary people fear and worship him when they see him and try to curry favor with him? This woman didn't seem to put Qian Feng in her eyes at all. June Mayan, take the medicine and think carefully. You're just a rogue cultivator with no one to rely on. Even if your talent is very good, if you don't have enough cultivation resources, you won't be able to go far. The Forgotten River Secret Realm, that you want to go to, is a place that you will never be able to reach in your entire life. However, if you become Hong Zhao's Dao partner and my personal disciple, everything will be different. I guarantee that in the future, the best resources of the Leaf Fire sect will be given to you. That River of Forgetfulness Secret Realm, in at most 3 months, I will definitely let you in. Moreover, Hong Zhao is likely to be the future head of the Qian family, and you will be the future mistress of the Qian family. Are you really not tempted? The Qian family was also considered a large family clan in the Azure Heaven world. Although it was not as powerful as the Leaf Fire sect, it had the advantage in terms of concentrated resources. If she could become the Qian clan's clan master and mistress, the benefits she could obtain would naturally be innumerable. Mu Yan listened to Qian Feng's words and felt that these arguments sounded somewhat familiar. After thinking for a while, she suddenly remembered. Isn't this what I heard Jiang Xinyu say when she was tempting a peerlessly handsome man to marry her when I was in the Mirror Moon Mountain Range? TSK, do the people of the cultivation continent like to use this method? She shook her head without hesitation. Sorry, I'm not interested in being the mistress of a bunch of toads. You bitch. Qian Feng was instantly enraged, and piercingly cold killing intent emanated from his body. Mu Yan said with a smile that was not a smile, what? Since he couldn't marry her by force, he decided to kill her. Everyone in the entire Windless Square knows that I came to attend the banquet today. Looks like Elder Qian really wants others to know his face. Qian Feng's chest heaved up and down, his face alternating between green and white. All right. Good. Let's see how long you can be so stubborn. If you have the ability, don't enter the Leaf Fire sect, or I'll definitely make you. TSK, Elder Qian's words mean that you can do whatever you want in the Leaf Fire sect. You are even more arrogant than the sect leader. Mu Yan interrupted him with a meaningful tone. When I reach the Leaf Fire sect, I will definitely help Elder Qian spread these words. It will also let the other elders in the Leaf Fire sect know of Elder Qian's prestige. Qian Feng's face froze. He did have a lot of authority in the Leaf Fire sect, but he had quite a number of old enemies. There were also the sect leader and grand elder who could suppress him. If June Mayan really spread these words, those enemies would definitely seize this matter and use it as leverage. Moreover, June Mayan's talent is so outstanding. If he really refused to submit to him, he would definitely join his rival, Elderly, once he entered the Leaf Fire sect. At that time, it would be a great calamity for him. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.